Nighttime anxiety. We've all experienced it at some point. It's that night when you've had a busy day, you've been running all day, and you are wiped out. You fall asleep as soon as your head hits the pillow. But then at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., your eyes pop open and your mind is racing. You can't get it to stop. You could be thinking about money, your job, your health, the health of an aging parent, or you simply watched the news a little bit too much and now you've also taken on the world's problems. Whatever the case may be, trying to fall back asleep when your mind is racing like this, it's hard to do, and sometimes it's just downright impossible. Well, why do these anxious thoughts keep us up at night? And what can we do to reduce nighttime anxiety so we can get a good night's sleep? Well, one, think about it. During the day, we complete a huge number of tasks for our family, for our friends, for ourselves, for our jobs, for our clients. And then when it's time to go to bed at night, we expect our brains to just shut down like we can hit a switch and turn it off. But our brains just don't work that way. It's a hard transition and it's just not going to happen. That's why today I'm going to share 3 tips with you to help you reduce that nighttime anxiety so that when you lay down and you drift off to sleep, if you wake up, you can use these tips to help you hopefully go back to sleep and get a good night's rest. So grab your cup of coffee or a glass of wine and get ready to learn some strategies to help you sleep through the night. Welcome back to the More Than Capable Mompreneur podcast. I'm Shannon Baker, a coffee-loving mompreneur that started as a virtual assistant and turned into a total systems geek. And I want to help you shift your mindset and embrace your worthiness while creating systems in your business so you can be more productive and build success on your own terms without the mom guilt. Are you loving that? Well, I hope you're ready for real conversations that will help you beat the perfectionist inside, rediscover your strengths, and up-level your self-love in the mom cracks of time so you can stop letting fear hold you back because you are enough and you do enough. We are more than capable mompreneurs. So grab your cup of coffee, some sparkling water, or pour a glass of your favorite wine and let's dive in. Getting enough rest. Exactly what does that mean? I don't know about you, but really resting, and I say that while doing air quotes, may sometimes seem like an impossible task, especially those moments when it's hard for you to drift off to sleep. You finally do, and then you wake up in the middle of the night. That is the worst. Now, I'm in no way, shape, or form a night owl, honestly. If I make it to 10 o'clock, I'm doing good. So going to bed at a decent hour obviously is not a struggle. As I said, we go to bed around 10. At least we head to the bedrooms around that time. But on nights when my anxiety level is high, it's nearly impossible for me to stay asleep. I have no problem going to sleep, but it's sleeping until the morning that gets me every time. And I usually will wake up around 2 a.m. and just lie in bed awake. That is so awful. Then here's the really bad part. My brain kicks into overdrive and starts generating new ideas, so I can't go back to sleep for hours, if I even go back to sleep at all. Then I look at the clock every hour, and I start even feeling more anxious because I know I'm not getting enough sleep, and I'm going to wake up tired the next day. Or if I wake up because I drift off, by the afternoon, I'm going to plummet downhill about 2 o'clock. It's exhausting just talking about it. Have you ever experienced that? It's awful, right? So what can you do when this happens? And then why does this happen to us? Well, simply put, every day has its own anxieties, and believe it or not, it's a proven fact that anxiety actually wakes us up. Think about it. We have hectic schedules. Our workload ebbs and flows, and sometimes we just go through things in our personal lives that increase our anxiety. Whatever it is that's giving you nighttime anxiety, it can be worked through so you can get a good night's sleep. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to share 3 tips or things that you can try that will hopefully help reduce that nighttime anxiety for you. So let's dive right in. Number 1, establish a nighttime routine. Sounds simple, but for everyone, it's not that easy. But having a routine before you go to bed at night will actually help you unwind and get mentally prepared for the next day. It helps you disconnect from work and get a good night's rest. And it also helps if you go to bed around the same time every night. So I'm going to describe a typical night in my house. Now, keep in mind, I have a teenager, so this may differ based on the age of your kids. I finish my work, I cook dinner, we sit down to eat around 8 or so. Then after dinner, I will crack open my laptop or pick up my iPad or use my iPhone and work on my business for another hour or so. Then when I think I'm done, I remember there's one more thing I wanted to do before the day ends. But here's the thing. Our laptops, tablets, and smartphones generate light that actually stimulates our brains and makes it difficult for us to relax when it's time to go to sleep. So you need to pick a time to shut down the technology in the evenings. Personally, I try to do this about 30 minutes to an hour before my bedtime, so I don't always get in that hour after dinner. Most of the time that works, but then the times that it doesn't, I just give myself some grace because it is what it is. But then when I do go to bed, I have my iPhone automatically set for Do Not Disturb. It quiets all notifications and phone calls from 10:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. except for family members that are saved in my favorites. This allows me to sleep through the night and wake up refreshed in the morning so I can start my morning routine. Here's a sidebar or bonus as well. I sleep with my phone face down. So even if notifications come through the phone, the light does not wake either me or my husband up. Okay, now for tip number 2, reflect on what you're grateful for. When we focus on all the things that go wrong in our lives, our anxiety starts to take over. So try this instead. Pick at least one thing that you're grateful for every day. Or maybe even start keeping a gratitude journal about what made you happy that day. Do that before you go to bed as part of your nighttime routine. Then when you lay down, you can reflect on those positive moments and positive thoughts and appreciate the people and the events that made you feel good that day, which releases that happy hormone and helps you to relax. Now, I will admit, I'm not a journaling type of girl per se, but the planner that I use has space for me to record daily wins. Now, keeping a gratitude journal of some sort, whatever works for you, requires you to put things into perspective and to focus on how good you have it at that moment. Now, why is this important? Well, it's about more than just writing down your thoughts, but this actually helps you create a positive outlook, which in turn is mentally and emotionally beneficial. I mean, think about it. It's really easy to point out or to notice what's not working in our lives or what we're lacking. When things don't go as we plan, we tend to go into a tailspin and convince ourselves that we don't deserve the things that we have, that we don't have what it takes to achieve our goals and be successful, and that we aren't taking good care of our families, right? You get the point. But when we don't reflect on those good things to find happiness that we do have, our mind starts to believe all that garbage. We've worked hard for the things that we have and the way that we take care of our family, the things that we've been blessed with. So we need to shift our minds and start focusing on those good things that fill our lives every day. Writing it down is great because when you're stressed out, it's hard to remember the good things or to focus on those good things. But you can look back at those journal entries or those daily reflections and then notice all of the good things that you've already taken note of. That helps you save that brain capacity so you don't have to recall it. You just read it again because that's hard to do when your mind is racing and you're feeling overwhelmed. But again, having that written journal is an earmark that helps you, jogs those good memories, and again, puts you in a happy, positive place. And there's just something about being able to physically see all the things that you can be grateful for that really helps relieve stress and anxiety. And the more optimistic and grateful that you are for the things in your life, the happier, more confident, and comfortable you will be, which leads to better relationships with your family and your friends, and you feel so much better about yourself. Now for tip number 3. Now this is a big one. If you wake up in the middle of the night Enjoy the silence. Now, I admit I've had to work on this one. I mentioned earlier that when I have anxiety, I tend to wake up at 2 in the morning and my brain shifts into fifth gear, like it's 2 in the afternoon. So I used to think that, oh, it's a great time to do a brain dump. So I would pick up my phone, start writing all the things out, thinking that this would help me go back to sleep. That if I just recorded it all, my brain would give that sigh of relief and would turn off. Well, boy, was I wrong. It took some time for me to figure it out. And I wondered, why was the brain dump not working? It was just common sense, right? But then I found out that the ambient lighting from my phone was actually stimulating my brain even more. So needless to say, I don't do that anymore. Now, I will admit that I didn't like the silence at first because when you're lying there and those anxious thoughts are running through your head, the silence makes it very easy for you to recall every fear, every thought, whether it's good or bad, every doubt, every failure, just all the things that are basically causing you the anxiety in the first place. So now I take advantage of that silence to center my thoughts, to get back to basics, basically. So I start to recall the things that I was grateful for that day and then think back to other days, the things that I've been grateful for. I meditate on the Bible verse that I read that morning while having my coffee. I walk through what's on my agenda for the next day. Now, it took me some time to get used to doing this. And then once I got used to it, now I just drift back off to sleep. And honestly, the silence is actually good for our brains. Studies show that experiencing silence relieves stress and lowers our blood pressure. The silence allows our prefrontal cortex, which is the attention center, to relax and restore itself. So it helps our brain to regenerate, which helps with learning, memory, and get this one, our emotions. Our brains are like a muscle. All the noise, images when we're scrolling on social media, the information we expose it to daily, all of that is like a hard workout for our brain. And that silence is like the protein shake that helps it recover afterwards. I mean, think about it. If you've ever worked with a personal trainer or done a really hard workout, you're just thinking about that cold protein shake that's going to help you recuperate after the fact. When you're done, you aren't pumped up and ready for another hard workout, right? Well, guess what? Our brain needs the same treatment. It needs the silence. So learn to enjoy it. Not to mention, this may be the only time you get to experience this type of silence in your house, depending on the age of your kids. So enjoy it while it lasts. Now let's do a recap of the 3 things you can try to reduce nighttime anxiety. 1, establish a nighttime routine that includes a consistent bedtime and a time for you to unwind by putting down the technology at least 30 minutes before you go to bed. This gives your brain time to slow down. Number 2, reflect on what you're grateful for so the anxiety doesn't take over. While you're winding down for the day, write down what you're grateful for at that moment in your planner or in a journal. That way you can reflect on it once you lay down to help you relax your mind. Number 3, if you wake up in the middle of the night, enjoy the silence. Fight the urge to pick up your phone and instead focus your thoughts on positive things and give your brain a chance to recover from the day's events. Now, I encourage you to feel free to try one or all of these and see if they help you get a better night's sleep. Now, I'm not in any way guaranteeing that any of this will work. I'm just sharing what has helped reduce my nighttime anxiety and helped me get a better night's sleep. And I'm hoping that it will do the same for you. That way you have the energy and the brain capacity to be all that you can be, not only for your family, but for yourself and for your clients. Now, I know the struggle is real, but I also believe in you. You're a more than capable mompreneur. You've got this, girl. Now, if you would like to connect with me and other mompreneurs that can support you and help you keep your sanity on this journey, then I would love for you to join us in the More Than Capable Mompreneur podcast group on Facebook. We have all kinds of conversation over coffee and sometimes with wine. But in that group, you will get access to my insights and experience, free trainings, and support to help you build a business that supports your lifestyle. But this is also a safe place where you can connect with other mompreneurs and collaborate with them to help you grow your business. So if you're interested in joining, a link will be in the show notes. And if you learned something new in this episode, please let me know. Take a screenshot, post it in Instagram stories, and tag me at the More Than Capable Mompreneur. So thank you again for tuning in today. And remember, you are enough and you do enough. But don't forget to try at least one of these tips to reduce your nighttime anxiety. And until next time, keep calm and streamline.